My name is Miss Melissa, and I am a teaching artist in the PACE program. You might be watching this in your classroom or you might be watching this at home. But no matter where you are watching this from, we are going to have fun today. Because we are going to be looking at a cool science demonstration so we can learn about the 3 states of matter. I am going to need you to use your imagination for this activity to help me. Can you do that? Good, because when we are finished, then I'm going to show you how to make a running river to show water in its actual liquid state, and we're going to do that together. Before we start, you may be wondering though, what is matter? Well, matter has 3 states: solid state, a liquid state, and a gas state. I want you to say that with me. Solid, liquid, and gas. Very good. So a solid, you can pretty much feel it all around. It keeps its shape. And a liquid is more fluid. It takes the shape of the container. And then the gases are kind of like in the air. So why don't I show you my science demonstration? So here I have a book. Now this, I could feel it, right? It's sturdy, it's keeping its shape. So this would be a solid. Very good. Let's find something else. What about a toy? Do you think this would be a solid, a liquid, or a gas? A solid. Very good. Solids are pretty easy. You'll probably see more solids than any other state of matter. And this is a dinosaur toy, and I could feel it. It's keeping its shape. It might, bend a little bit. Let's look at one more. Now here, this one actually makes noise. This is obviously what? A stuffed animal of a lamb, right? So now I could feel it all around. It's keeping its shape, but is this stuffed animal going to be hard like this book? No. See, this book is hard, right? Now watch. This is soft and squishy. So can solids be soft? Yeah, they can, as long as it keeps its shape, right? So sometimes solids, liquids, and gases have something called different properties. And that means it kind of describes it, like a solid can be hard or it can be soft, just like the lamb. A liquid, maybe it can be real thin or maybe it can be really thick. Very good. A gas, a lot of gases are in the air, and some you might not be able to see them. Some you can see them, right? So there's different, matter has different properties too, and states. So now I'm going to show you a liquid. And I have a little container, and as you can see, that's just water. Now remember how I said a liquid can take the shape of its container? So if I pour it into this little, I think this is an ice cream cup, but that's okay, it's still a cup. If I pour it in, it should take the shape of the container. Let's see that. Is it doing it? Yep. See? It's taking the shape. Now a lot of liquids you can easily spill it, right? If I go like that, I would have a big old puddle, huh? I have another liquid to show you. And I just pulled something out the fridge. I wanted to get a liquid that was a little thicker. So I have some barbecue sauce. I know a lot of y'all probably like barbecue sauce. Let's pretend your mom or your dad or your grandmother or your aunt or uncle. Use your imagination right now. This is when I want you to use your imagination. Let's pretend they're going to make some chicken in the oven, right? And they have to pour all that barbecue sauce in a bowl before they spread it, right? So look, you see this? It's fluid, it's a liquid, but it's not as runny. I'm going to make a big old glob of, look at that. I'm going to show you up close. I'm just squeezing and squeezing. Now it's taken the shape of my container. Very good. just like the water took the shape of that container. Which one looks thicker? Yep, the barbecue sauce. So the water must be thinner. So I'll show you up close. See? It's taking the shape of the container. It's not going to go outside of it. This is a liquid. Now what would happen if I would just go like that? I'd make a big what? Mess. Very good. You can always tell if it's a liquid because liquids can make the biggest messes, huh? Alright, now I have one more, and this one I'm going to need you to use your imagination big time on this one. I just have one demonstration on what a gas is, and here I have a pot. Now wait a minute, you might be thinking, this isn't a gas, this is a what? It's a solid. But if you I want you to use your imagination, pretend you have a grown-up cooking on the stove, right? And the stove is hot and there's water. Pretend there's water in here. Look, I'll even help you imagine it. Let's pretend that, you know, let's pretend you're gonna make some noodles. The grown-up's gonna make noodles, right? So in order to make noodles, you have to put water in the pot, and the grown-up has to boil it so you can make the noodles. And what's gonna happen? See, here's the water. Let's pretend I put it on the stove. I'm cooking it. It's hot. It's boiling. What happens when you see boiling water besides bubbles? What could happen in the air? Does anybody know? Very good. You might see some smoke or some steam rising, right? And that would be called a what? Solid, liquid, or gas? Very good. The gas is the actual steam that's rising from this heated pot of water. Thank you for using your imagination, because I'm not going to actually be able to show you the steam. So yeah, our imaginations can be a great thing. So now that you know what the three states of matter are, and what are they? Solid, liquid, and gas. Very good. I'm going to show you something really special about water, because guess what? Water, even though you know it's a liquid, right? And I showed you from pouring it into this cup. Do you know that water can actually turn into a solid? So water can be a liquid or a solid. All right, so I'm going to show you what is so cool about water. Okay, but first you have to use your imagination for me again, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to pretend that you're standing, no peeking, in your kitchen, okay? And you are looking right at your refrigerator, and hopefully you have a freezer. If you do, pretend that you are staring right at your freezer. So close your eyes, do this with me, no peeking. Close your eyes and pretend that you're staring at your freezer, and you're about to open the freezer. Okay, now open your eyes. I want you to pretend that you see this in your freezer. I don't know if you have this or not, but we're going to pretend that you do. This is an ice cube tray, right? This is where you can get ice cubes out. So how do we make ice cubes? Did you know that? Your freezer can make them, or you can actually what? Very good. Pour water from the faucet, or however you do it. Maybe the grown-up does this in your house if you have ice trays, because these are ice trays, but these are where you get ice cubes, right? So I'm going to see if you can see it. Yeah, look, there's water in here. Now, if you just pulled this out of the freezer, would the water be liquid? No, it would be a what? Solid. Very good. So let's pretend you're taking the ice trays out of the freezer. It's a solid. Now what happens if you forget to put the ice trays back? What happens if you just leave this on the counter for a couple hours? What's going to happen to all of these ice cubes? They're going to melt, and then it's going to look like water. So first you have to put water into the trays, freeze it, and they turn into a solid. Very good. And if you leave them sitting out, it'll turn right back into a liquid state. So water is interesting, right? Now, does anybody ever like to drink maybe Kool-Aid or fruit drink or Gatorade or something like that? I know it can be pretty tasty. And this is, I have some Gatorade right here. Why am I showing you this? Well, remember how I said that liquids can have, it can be thin or it can be thick? That would be properties, right? So let's compare water, I just showed you water, to Gatorade. Does it kind of pour the same like water, or did it kind of pour like the barbecue sauce? Yeah, it was very close to the water. So this is very thin. What do you think would happen if I would if I would pour this? Let's do it together. You know what I'm doing? This is a popsicle tray. What if we were to make popsicles? Have you ever made popsicles before? Maybe some of you have made popsicles. Maybe you haven't. You can make popsicles in ice cube trays, but you would have to do this with a grown-up. But I'm just going to show you. So let's pretend we're making popsicles. Now this is from Gatorade, right? It's nice and tasty. What state is this Gatorade? It's a liquid. Very good. Very similar to water because it's thin. So now, you can see the Gatorade moving. I'm going to put the tops on this, right? What is going to happen to this when I put these, wrong way, popsicle containers. When I put this popsicle container into the freezer, what's going to happen to this Gatorade? Now keep in mind, if I can get it on there. Hold on one second. Keep in mind that the Gatorade is a what? What state of matter? Very good. Liquid. Okay, ready? Pretend that you're opening your freezer and you're going to put this in and leave it in there overnight. The next day you take it out. Use your imagination. What state of matter is this going to be in the next day? Very good. A solid state of matter. So water is very special. It can be in a solid state. It can be in a liquid state. And if it goes into a solid state, how does it go back into a liquid state? It would have to what? Melt. Very good. So now that you know that water can be in a liquid or solid state, let's look at words right here that are either land forms or bodies of water on our earth. What I want you to do is to be able to tell me which one is a liquid or a solid. You will need your imagination for this so you can picture it in your mind. Can you do that? Okay, great. Let's get started. So let's just read these together. Ready? This is an ocean. Now, as we read them together out loud, I want you to picture this. What would an ocean look like in your mind? Okay? So, ready? Ocean, lake, river, creek, glacier, or an iceberg. All right, now some of you may have not seen these different types of landforms or bodies of water. Maybe you read about them or heard about it, but would you say an ocean is water or land? It's water in its liquid state, right? So I'm going to circle it. What about a lake? Is the water in a liquid or solid state? A lake is typically, it has water. It's a body of water, right? What about a river? Whenever you picture a river, is that land form or body of water? It's a body of water in a liquid state. And a creek looks just like a river, except a creek, you can actually cross it or sometimes jump in it. That would also be water. Very good. I'm circling all the ones that are water, bodies of water, right? And then what about a glacier? Glaciers are these big frozen rocks. So that would be what? If it's frozen, if the water's frozen, that would be in a solid state. And sometimes when pieces of the glacier break off, it makes an iceberg, which would also be water in a solid state. So these two are landforms, and these four are bodies of water. I have another video, maybe you've seen it. If not, you should watch it. It is called Icebergs Matter. Basically, we make a landform that shows an iceberg in the solid state. Today, guess what? We are going to make a river. We're going to call it the running river. This is a body of water that's going to be shown in its liquid state. Let's go ahead and start making our river together. Now we are ready to draw our running river. So as you can see, I have my paper all ready. Let me show you the supplies that you are going to need. You're going to need one white sheet of paper, okay? Just any kind of white paper. I have mine all ready to go. You're also going to need a pencil, and you're also going to need your box of crayons. So what I want you to do is, I want you to pause the video if you need to. You can get your supplies. So, and then whenever you unpause it, I will be here when you get back. Now that you have all of your supplies and you are ready, we're going to start drawing your running river. As you can see, I have some line cards on the board. Let's go over these lines, and if you've been working with me, you'll recognize them. Here we have a straight line and then a zigzag. Here we have a curve and then a wavy. Very good. So let's start. We are going to make a running river, and it's going to end up being a drawing of a landscape. So if this is the middle, maybe just go up a little bit. So with your finger, find the middle, go up a little bit, and with your pencil, you're going to draw, a straight line. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now I'm using a marker just so you can see it. So I'm using this straight line. A lot of times, I've actually been down a river. I went white water river rafting? I don't know, it's been a long time, but I went down a river and we were in the mountains. A lot of times you'll see rivers in the mountains. You don't have to always. So I thought, let's go ahead and borrow that zigzag line and draw some mountains. All right, so a zigzag line is made up of straight lines that go diagonal, up and down. You can make some little mountains, some medium, some big. Oh, it's going to go right off the page. Those are going to be my mountains. And mountains are usually made of rock, right? Be gray. They might have some dirt on it, maybe some grass. So I want to pretend it's the summertime, and maybe we can draw a sun in the sky, right? Or if you want to pretend it's nighttime, you can draw a moon. Whatever you want. I'm going to make a daytime sky with a sun. So I'm going to use my curvy line and draw a circle. If you want to now if you want it to be a moon, what color would you have to color your sky? Yeah, because moons come out at night, so it would have to be a black sky, right? If it's the sun high in the sky, your sky would have to be blue. And if you have a sun setting low, then your sky could be orange, right? But we're just going to draw right now. Now we need to make our river. I think we can make a river with a curvy line. So I want you to pick any spot on your paper. I'm going to pick like about right here. You see where your mountains touch? What I want you to do is put your pencil right there and make a curvy line like that, from where the mountains touch all the way to the bottom of your paper. Just a curve. Okay? Remember, we're making a landscape, but in our landscape, we're going to put a running river. All right, so now I'm going to show you a trick to make the water look like it's far away and it's running down. I'm going to leave a little bit of space, and I'm going to continue my curve, but instead of following it exactly, I'm going to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm going to widen my curve as it goes to the bottom. So watch, move over just a little bit, and we're going to make a big curve. Do you see that? Very good. Now I have this big river. How do we show a running river? How do we show water moving? Was anybody thinking of drawing some wavy lines? Let's draw some wavy lines. Now, here's a little trick. Whenever you're making, I'm just going to go back over my lines. Whenever you're making a landscape, everything in the front is bigger to show that it's really like close, and everything in the back you can draw smaller. So we're going to make some little wavy lines, right? And as we get closer to the bottom, they're going to get bigger. Do you see? So the ones in the back, we're going to make them small, and the ones in the front are going to be nice and big waves, and maybe medium in the middle. So we just can kind of spread them out. Just make some wavy lines. You can have big ones on the bottom, medium ones in the middle, little ones in the back. I'm going to make a bunch of, we want to show that there's moving water, right? Because when you see a river, the water moves. Very good. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to the mountains where there's a river, but a lot of times if you have, you might be in a forest area. And if you're in a forest area, you will see, and it depends on where you are, lots of trees. A lot of pine trees too. Let's draw some pine trees together. We're going to use a straight line, but we're going to go up about halfway from the bottom of the paper to the top of this line. I'm going to make a tall, thin rectangle using my straight lines. I'm going to make about 3 of these. Just some tall straight lines and connect it to make a rectangle. Now watch, if you make a pine tree, I just take a curvy line and I curve them out from the top, see? Or you can really make a triangle with some straight lines. It's up to you. Everybody makes, they're kind of like a Christmas tree. I just make some curves. So what part of the tree did I draw? A trunk, right? So we're drawing the leaves and the branches coming from the trunk. This is how I like to draw pine trees. Straight line for the trunk, curvy line for the branches and leaves. And I just put a bunch. Kind of makes it look, you know, leafy. Now, if you notice, do my trees look big or small? They look big, right? Because they're on the bottom. So now we can maybe draw on this side. Why don't we draw some small ones? Because it'll show that the trees are far away. It's a little trick. So we have some little magic tricks when making a landscape, huh? And you could even make a log cabin house if you want. You're doing a great job. So now what I'm going to do is start adding color. I want my picture to make sense. Now I'm going to be going quickly because I have a certain amount of time, but you may have more time than me. And if you're in class right now watching this, you can always take your picture home and finish coloring at home, okay? But what you definitely need to do is color the water what? Blue. Very good. We want it to look like a real river with water moving to show the water in its liquid state, right? Remember how I told you I drew a sun? Because I want a daytime sky. So if I'm going to have a daytime sky, I'm going to color the sky blue. So as soon as you're finished drawing your river and your mountains and trees to go along with the environment, I want you to add color to your picture. Now we all know that trees are green, so I'm not going to have pink trees and purple trees. We want our picture to make sense. That way you can see what a real river looks like. And the cool thing about this is we're making a landscape, a drawing of a landscape, right? And like I said, you could add some, maybe you're gonna have a lot of log cabin houses, right? It's up to you. I'm just showing you how to draw some trees really big in the front and some trees really small in the back. Now, if we're in the forest, a lot of times you're going to see, a lot of dirt and things like that. So you could have brown for the dirt, or maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want a lot of shrubs and green grass, okay? You could have that too. So you can color the ground the color that you want. I'm just going to do it quickly and I'll have to work on my picture later. I'm going to give you an idea of what yours looks like by coloring the picture. I might mix some colors for the mountains. I kind of want my mountains to look a little rocky. Like, I want to see the stones and the rocks in them. So I'm going to color it black, but I'm going to make them pretty light, and I might go back over it with some brown, and I might put some grass in it to show some patches of grass growing on the sides of it. So again, I'm going to work on my picture more, but I'm just kind of coloring to show you. Oh, and what am I missing? My sun. I'm going to put in little light yellow orange sun. So if you notice the picture, the water stands out. That's a really nice looking river, huh? And you could see all of the wavy lines. I think you did a great job. Well, thank you for joining me today. We learned about so many things. We learned about 3 states of matter. And what are they? Say it with me. Solid, liquids, and gases. Very good. And all those states of matter could have different properties, right? They may be hard or soft or thick or thin. And what else did we learn about? We learned how water can be a what? A solid or a liquid. Very good. And we did this by you used that big imagination of yours to help you understand that. And you also learned about how water can be a solid or a liquid by drawing a landscape with me, with a running river that was surrounded by trees and mountains. I am super proud of you for using your imagination to draw this landscape with me today, using curvy, wavy, straight, and zigzag lines. As you go through your week, I want you to do something for me. I want you to notice the objects in your house that are solids, liquids, and gases. What types of liquids do you think that you can find in your home besides what I showed you today? I showed you water, Gatorade, and barbecue sauce. I bet you can find some other types of liquids. And maybe next time you open the freezer, you will notice the ice cubes in a solid state. Even better, what if when you open the freezer you found popsicles. Maybe you'll even make them with a grown-up, because we all like popsicles, right? Just remember, don't leave the popsicles sitting on the counter, because if you do, it's going to turn to a liquid. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you again soon. Have a great day.